And we are recording
Live.
with Miss Judyth Very Baker and on Monday, July 10th, 2023 at 4:41 p.m. Eastern time. And Miss Baker just asked me, have I been happy? I have every day I meditate and I pray after I go to the gym. And I have to slow my mind down. And in the moments of silence, takes about 20 minutes, but in the moments of silence when the thoughts stop, and I always describe it like this. It's like if you have your air conditioner on, you don't notice it until it turns off. You stop hearing it. You go, oh, I didn't even realize there was a noise. And that's what meditation is you really don't even, you can't imagine what it's like to not be thinking because you're always thinking. And then if you meditate and you just get a brief little glimpse, maybe 5-10 seconds, and the thoughts stop and you're just aware. And it is, to me, that is what God is. It's the presence of just, you have no worries and you're just here. And I've been doing this for 15 years and it never ceases to amaze me how it has the same effect. And the effect is this: you become extremely grateful for everything that up until this moment you've been taking for granted. You look down, I meditate on my bed, on my pillow. I look at
Well,
my
that's what
nice,
David did. King David, he said,
well,
I lie upon my bed, and praise God.
well, you do, and you look around and you're on a made bed, your sheets are clean. You go, how often have you been sick? And you go, I just wish I wasn't sick. You go, I'm not sick right now. All my bills are paid. My apartment's clean. I have food. I have my dinner's ready in a refrigerator and it keeps the food cold. I can go over to a little metal thing in the wall and pull a handle and it fills up a cup with clean drinking water. I just pull a handle with ice in it. I have ice. Ice used to be a luxury reserved
I
for
love it.
the elite. And it's just these little things. And you walk into a studio and I go, I'm my own boss. I do a podcast for a living. I'm going to talk to Judyth today, and I'm wearing slippers, and then I'm going to call my mom later. And you look outside, and you just see birds flying by, and it just. So to answer your question, am I happy? I'm happy when I take the time to get close to God and quiet my heart and my mind, and then God shows me everything I've ever wanted. I'm swimming in it right now. So
Oh,
that's my answer to
yeah.
your question.
Lovely. It's beautiful. And uh, it strikes home. I have different experience. Everybody has, I think, he treats all of us uniquely.
Yeah.
He respects our individuality, even
Yes.
though we have him in common.
Yes.
He acts like we're the most important person on earth. That's the way I feel.
Absolutely. You feel like the center of his gaze.
Oh, it's unbelievable. I really needed a little rest today. And here we're starting a half hour late. It's just
Yeah.
what I needed.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just like a miracle
Yeah.
because, I feel all regenerated and everything.
Well, I had a doctor's appointment as I was telling you, and I ran a little late. And I went to the gym and it ran a little late. And I was like, Judyth and I can start the show at 4, but then I'm not going to be able to meditate. And so I said, we're going to start at 4:30 so I can meditate. And you got a nap. So again, just little
Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah.
synchronicity.
And I woke up suddenly and said, oh no, look at the time. He didn't call.
No, and I texted you. And so yeah, it's, if you can find the time, and you should always find the time because it only takes 20 minutes to really just get quiet.
Wow, that's wonderful. I envy you. I have a mind that's always, well, it just won't stop. I'll put it
Yeah.
that way. And
No,
I love
same.
it most of the time, but uh I get it. I get there in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
In about 8 minutes. Really, I can't last any longer than that. So I do it more often. I don't do it just once a day. I'll put it
Okay.
that way. Yeah.
I do. It takes me about 20 to get there. And then all the magic happens in the last 5 minutes. And then around there, it's like a light switch. It just goes, and I'm like, well, now it's gone and it's time to get to work. But it's what you just said, is your mind's always running and most of the time you enjoy it. It's the same with me. I describe it as my mind is a car with no brakes. And when I'm going to
Oh, yeah.
destinations, it's great. But sometimes I really just want to pull over on the side of the road and take a nap, and I can't because the car has no brakes. So if you don't have any brakes, all you can do is take the key out of the ignition and let it glide to a stop. So
That's a Tesla. I
absolutely.
love a Tesla. It's just, it is so wonderful. I went down a street, not here, a different city, and I remember going down that street. It was so noisy, but there happened to be 5 or 6 Teslas. It was nice piece of quiet, right? As I was walking. I cannot tell you what it's been like to research Elon Musk and find out so many great, good things about him. I should have known. I had all this prejudice, and wait a minute, I asked myself, why am I like this about him? I've never met him. I just think he's. And then I realized I had been completely duped by the media because I caught the media in a lie about him, and that opened my. So I went back and looked, and sure enough, these things are coming mainly from just 2 or 3 uh, entities. They're mainly the car industry, and
Hmm.
and a couple of people that just literally hate him, and they've got money. So I had to. It took a whole year. I was living in Austin, and by the end of the year, instead of saying, "Well, he's just another old millionaire," no, he's not. He's a gift of God. So help me. Very good man, and that doesn't mean he's perfect or anything. Who is? And he's under the a spotlight constantly. I don't know how he does it really,
Hmm.
but like I know we have the same schedule. I don't sleep much. I'm very blessed that way. We have the same schedule. We have the same IQ. His schedule is like he has to get to bed by 3 o'clock in the morning. So depending on whether he's in California or what, and I don't know how he adapts that. We still go between California and Texas here, and they've got a time zone difference,
Yeah.
and that really adds up.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to carry on, but we are very blessed to have someone who cares about breaking up child trafficking and everything like that. He's done a heck of a job, a really, really great job. And he just can't stand, he can't abide it. He loves little kids, in the right way,
Yeah. What is no, I'm a big Elon fan. What has he
Yeah.
done? You'll have to refresh me. In terms of child trafficking, giving it is
He
he
has
basically
got
he's been
rid
using
of
Twitter for it?
about, so online it says this, he's got child trafficking problems, and on Twitter and all that. And what did he
Oh,
do?
okay.
He fired half of his security staff. The security staff that he fired, there were Twitter was so cluttered with child trafficking and human trafficking sites everywhere. So he fires half of them, and he brings in a really great team. They ended up cleaning out about 80,000 sites. Yeah,
Jeez.
and
Good
of course
Lord.
they're going to go and complain and fight him. They've lost their source of income. He can't abide them, and he finds them. And I think he gets fun in his life doing stuff like that. That's his recreation.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. To kind of pivot. So, we were texting last night, and you said you really wanted to talk about the
Yes.
SV-40 monkey virus, which I know nothing about other than you texted
Oh,
that to me last
Tommy,
night.
this is going to be great. Maybe we'll have people they're finally going to wake up. There's a lot to talk about,
Go for it.
and I'm going to make it simple and to discuss it in a simple way. But get ready and hold on to your hat, because this is something I am extremely familiar with. I was one of the first people in the world, actually, that's still alive, really,
Hmm.
that worked with it from the beginning when it was first identified. And we're talking about that was identified in the 50s. But let's talk about the little critter, because it's causing a lot of trouble. People don't understand what's in these vaccines that are causing the difficulties. Uh, Even as a CDC is still saying, if you're over 6 months of age, we want you to get the next bivalent shot, and all this kind of thing. Please, people, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm going to give you a little hint. I had a friend, and I cannot tell you the location of this plant. Okay. I've promised not to do that, and because I don't want to get these people in trouble. But let's put it this way. Big Pharma doesn't, their big offices there, that's not where they make their drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, they're made somewhere else and they're shipped in and they get the label. Now, where they're made is they're usually these locations are in small towns or whatever. And they've been there a while. And there's a lot of security gates and, fencing around and things like that. But now I'm going to tell you a little story. So I had a very good friend. Her name starts with J, just like mine. And she sold me her car at a really great price and all that. She wanted very much to retire. And here's what happened to this poor lady. I've got her photo and everything. And she had less than 2 years to go to retire and with a really good pension. But Big Pharma, I think of all the big names, scooped up the plant and they changed everything. Now, no, they're going to let her have her pension. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
But what they didn't tell her is that we're going to do everything to make your life hell on earth so you'll quit before we have to give you your pension.
Uh,
Yeah. So what they did is put her on double shifts. I
oh,
mean,
okay.
the woman
Yeah,
is,
worker. Yeah, worker. Burn her
she's
out.
68 years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they made it so it was a quarter of a mile for her to have to walk where they put the parking lots. A quarter of a mile. And there's snow on the ground and they did all right, all this going on top of that, she's the one in charge of the entire crew. And when she's there with 100 hours a week. And then I think, good Lord, how does Elon Musk do this? What he goes through with all these different companies and everything. And recently there's a picture posted and somebody complains, say, oh, his hair is messy. I was thinking, good Lord, lady, please shut up.
Yeah.
His hair is messy. Really, I know that he only got 2 hours of sleep last night because I was up because why I was in interviews all night till 6:30 in the morning, and that man sometimes goes all night without any sleep at all, and he shouldn't do that. It's killing himself, but things happen. Something happens over in China, and they're in the daytime with their eyes wide open, and so it's a whole different. These things happen, and he just takes personal charge. So here anyway, this poor woman is working so hard, and she, you know what, she made it. But during this, I cannot tell you how she felt about it because when she was still working there, she let me come in and see how they manufacture some of the materials. I'll just put it this way. What goes inside that needle, what goes in that little bottle and they draw out, what think of big washing machines and dryers. And in the dryers, they're rotating them, but when you when it's all finished, they're all dried out and they're all little pellets,
Mm-hmm.
and they've extruded through these little holes. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of junk and dust at the bottom. You clean that out, of course, but then you have all these pills, and they shake it like that, and they all the dust and everything is off. But you've got that in the liquid part. It's sort of like a washing machine. These are big. They have to get the temperatures up to like way above boiling for certain parts of it. And then they add stuff and so on. It's a brew. It's a witch's brew. So help me. And you have to do it just right. You have to put the ingredients in correctly and so on, get it the right temperature. But they have them. She said the techs were very poorly trained because all I had to know certain formulas and just do that. It doesn't matter. So they're, first of all, they're not really well trained. Second, they had them on a schedule. And if they messed up a little bit, they had to go and cut corners to make up for the time because they have to go and get these things manufactured on a time limit. It reminds me of I Love Lucy with all the chocolates going down the road. She's, trying to put them in and put them in the
Yeah.
wrappers.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
can't, she starts stuffing them down her blouse. Well, it's like that, stuffing them in her mouth.
Yeah.
It's just the fact of the matter is that they want them to work hard. A lot of them are on double shifts. They have a time limit. So when they're not cleaning out some of those vats, she said, see that this one vat that's cooking all this stuff and putting all that in there. She said, I don't think it's, I said, I've been here 10 years. I don't remember if it ever has been cleaned out. And she said, think of a wine and you have the dregs at the bottom. You don't want to, she said, sure, when they're pouring that out, they're not pouring all of it out. But she says, it's that what's down there is growing.
Mm.
And it's filled with contamination and with exhausted people, underpaid, not taught properly, have time limits, and start cutting corners on everything. From why? She said, we can do this because nobody can sue us anymore.
Oh.
So think about that. All right. No, I mean, even a restaurant has inspections on the kitchens, in most states.
Mm-hmm.
Who's inspecting these vats and so on? They look very shiny on the outside. Don't get me wrong, they're spotless.
Yeah.
Okay. But nobody's looking inside. They look at the temperatures, they look at the product, they'll look at samples, they give them under a microscope, and those samples you can bet are going to be the best they have. You see. All right, so that's the background on the shots that you're paying like maybe $30 a shot, or the taxpayer is. And anytime you see it's free, and I was so outraged. I got a call a few days ago. You say it's time for you to come in for your shingle shot. Oh, America's wonderful. They know my age and all this. They're calling me up to make sure I get my shingle shot. Now, wait a minute. What doctor would ever go and peddle merchandise? That's peddling merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be making a lot of money to do this. Folks, we need more supervision. We need to do what they do overseas. We rank very badly. We rank, I think it's number 11 among all the industrialized countries, okay, for maternal deaths and infant deaths. And when we go to the healthcare, last I saw, Slovenia was ranked above us, and we were like number 44 in the world. And as for expense, we pay more than anybody else
Yep.
because they've overwhelmed us. The fact that we have insurance companies that decide whether or not you can get treatment, not your doctor. The doctor is hog-tied into contracts. They come out of medical school in our country. Overseas, they want doctors, and they are helping them to get their degrees. And they're rarely in debt, maybe just pay off a year or two, like that. We've got doctors over here, they're going to be in debt for 10 or 15 years
Longer
trying
than
to
that.
pay off.
Longer than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You go. I some of my friends' dads were surgeons. One of my uncles was a surgeon. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I think he like went through medical school, residency, fellowship, and then was a practicing surgeon for like 30 years. And I think he ended up paying his medical school bills off like a year before he retired. Yeah. No.
It's
It's
horrible, and it
yeah.
doesn't exist elsewhere. And we are all, at the same time, we're training tons and tons of people from India. And don't get me wrong, I love them. In fact, I live in a complex right now. It's almost all from India because I'm living near hospitals,
Mm-hmm.
and they're great. I mean, they're clean, and cleanliness means a lot when you have a very big apartment complex you're living in. It's a very nice place, but it is the kids are nice and polite, and there's not a paper on the ground or anything like that. It's really great.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, they go and work here. They get through their medical training, then they go back to India, and they're rich there.
Yeah.
They're rich. Okay, so we have our medical system is in a lot of pain and trouble, and I've met so many people that don't have any way to get medical help they need, and now all of us we're absolutely forced to go ahead and take, as you know, these vaccines. And we have a lot of doctors who have lost their practice because they refused to toe the line when they knew if they gave their patients remdesivir in the hospital, they put them in the hospital and they get remdesivir, they're going to get kidney damage, they're going to intubate them. And so many of the people are walking out alive. A lot of them are walked out alive because their friends or their relatives who could hardly ever visit them because during COVID, they wouldn't even let them visit me and things like that. But so many of them died, so many. But now we find It's not like that anymore. People have learned about ivermectin and everything. They had to learn it on their own because they get desperate. People smuggling in ivermectin to give to their, loved ones so they don't die. That's not even supposed to, you're not even supposed to get that unless it's first symptoms. So, I mean, it doesn't even work as well as it should, but it's saving lives. Many, many people have smuggled in ivermectin. I got in a lot of trouble. That's why I kind of idolized Musk, because I tried to mention ivermectin on Twitter before he got it. And I was shadow banned. And I got down to -1 friend. How can you go into -1 friend? you know, that's God is against you too. I mean,
Yeah.
all right. So let's get down to the nitty gritty about what's the problem. The real problem is we should never be forced to take anything. On the other side, we don't have enough information. If the information is throttled, like when I started saying ivermectin will help you, and all of a sudden I'm shadow banned. Oh, I was still there, but nobody was seeing me but me. And apparently, the -1 meant I could even. I was not even allowed to tweet or anything that to my and see it for myself. What a condition that was. So, and on top of that, when I mentioned when Elon Musk bought back, I got it like right away. What has the man read my books? I don't know, but right away I got my Twitter back. Of course, there wasn't anybody there. About 250 people joined right away, but that's not much to start with, And it's taking a while to get people back. But when I rejoiced and said, Musk got me my site back, and I'm in business again. And all that happened because of ivermectin. I stupidly put that on Facebook, and Zuckerberg shut me down. Bam. He hates Musk. I mean, with a passion. And now he has copied all the Twitter employees that Musk got rid of. They all went to he rounded them up, and then he copied and pasted everything that's on Twitter, all kinds of secrets and everything. It's against the law, but it's going to take years to have it go through court. Make a long story short, so Musk does the blood, sweat, and tears, pays 44 billion, and Zuckerberg just goes, "Hey, it's mine now," and he calls it Threads. Okay, well, there's a little catch, like if you're on Instagram and you go ahead and go on Threads and you don't like it, you want to go back to Twitter, you can't. You'll lose your Instagram account. You'll lose it. He's such a nice guy. All right. Okay, now I'm back. So I can talk, and I have been. I am free as a bird on the Bluebird, okay? And I've been able to get, and sure enough, as I'm doing this, I'm starting to finally be able to reach doctors and things again. Forget about Facebook. I've got a token presence over there with a tiny account I opened just to tell people, come to Twitter. All right. So now I'm reaching a lot of the doctors that were banned and everything, and I'm starting to post stuff that I never could dare before to put up. And I'm getting complaints, somebody saying, look, he lets everybody on, Now everybody has a voice, including all kinds of evil people, including him is evil, And they're persistent. These are bots. You go and you find out they only have 2, maybe 0 followers. Yeah, they're just automatic. So they're clustered all over the place like that. You just have to block them, get rid of them, And they don't have that blue check mark, So now I'm I finally can get information, and the appalling ignorance about the contents of the COVID-19 shots and the vaccines and how they're made and the lies. It's so easy when you know that when you know what you're looking at, when you know what's missing from the stats, when you see, for example, it's a cited a study, and the study, this is in the study, you'll see like they had 150 sites that they were pulling. They said this is a worldwide study. Well, 150 sites were in America, and like 9 were in the rest of the world. And that's supposed to be a worldwide study. All these glaring deficits and flaws and faults in the stuff that is supporting supposedly, how great these vaccines are and how safe they are. So I looked at this report. This is just one of many. I'm looking, wait a minute, this is not worldwide. What you've done, you've got 150 sites here. You're taking, right here in America, but something's out of kilter, out of balance. So you're pulling from way across in Germany, or you're pulling, something over from London, and you're throwing it in there. That makes it so it isn't so tilted anymore. You don't do that. That's not a good sample. That's terrible sample. That's like taking a pint of blood from somebody and adding 6 drops and saying, look, we've got a sample of blood from 15 people here. It's wrong and it's unconscionable, because I'm telling just the tip of the iceberg and how this particular study was put together. Why am I talking about it? Because this study was used to say, look how safe the vaccine is. One of those studies. So you scroll down, and way down at the bottom, where it's supposed to be, do you have conflicts of interest? They listed over 90 Pfizer employees that were working on this thing. And then this is cited all over. What, don't they scroll down and see that? No, it's at the bottom. And the other thing these so-called studies do, you have a 3-page study. It's supposed to be great to, support the ivermectin doesn't work or whatever it is they're after. Now, remember, last week they got rid of 300 papers online, preprints, okay, that were revealing the truth, and they have wiped them out. They have wiped them out. So, and then on AI, if you look at, it will give you the same reports over and over again. It's on every single search engine, the same reports, all in line, the ones that make the drug companies look like the angels instead of the devils from hell, so help me. Now, I'm going into a little detail about this. It's a preamble to what I'm going to be talking about, but understand that what the people are seeing, that this is safer, efficacious, and so on, it's based on rigged material. It's based on really a high school student, if they know their nomenclature, if they knew the lingo used, can see the faults in some of these. So you'll have a 3-page paper, and you're scrolling down and it says 32 pages. What? There are only 3 pages there, about this stuff. And then you find out that all the other pages are references, and every other word is being underlined. You go there, and the reference could have been about how to make cottage cheese. They are throwing every kind of reference and citation in there. And many of them are, you might as well be saying the etymology of the word "the" or something. They don't even belong in the paper, but it pads the paper, and it makes it look like, oh, look at all the work they did. So, and people are ignorant. So these are online. You can read some of them. But by the way, it's getting harder and harder. You really have to pay money if you want to see one whole article. You're only going to see the abstract and so on. We're being dumbed down like crazy. And I'm talking about med students. If they don't have their school, paid so they can get in, they're let's put it this way, they're going to go and find it if they can from somebody else, but you're only seeing what they want you to see first. That's what's coming up. It's all laid out very cleverly because these people make a lot of money. Okay, go ahead and kill me. I don't care. Now, so here we go. Now to the bad news. Well, it's already pretty bad. One, don't ever trust these people to stick anything in your body, okay? I was a proponent for a while about vaccines. I mean, for a long time. Certain vaccines are some basic ones. You don't want to get rid of your rabies vaccine, come on, or tetanus. Those are important. And they're made with the real stuff, botulism. You've got various ways, antivenom. You want to have certain injections available, So you have asthma, you get an injection right away, an EpiPen, so on. Well, the problem that we're facing, however, is that we're more and more, we don't have any control whatsoever about what these vaccines are made of. When we're talking about messenger RNA and CRISPR, CRISPR, they are coming out right now. See, there is material in the shots. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. That is reducing the ability of the body to fight any latent cancer in your body. And there are materials in there that actually depress the immune system a certain way and excite certain other elements that make it easier for latent cancers, and they do exist, a latent anything. And we have, for example, I've used this example before, but it works pretty well. When you have someone who is, they've had chicken pox. Did you ever have chicken pox? I think we brought this up once before here, but the point is that's a good example of a latent virus in your system, because you get chicken pox, and later, if it breaks out, you're going to get hurt. It's herpes. And you got the sore in the middle of your mouth. Oh, and it's painful and all that. Or even the whole inside of your mouth can be like that, and your tongue, and so on. Well, then later in life, it gets further invasion. It's going along your nerves, and it finally reaches the end of the nerves, like all around your trunk or here on your face. It's going to pop out, and it's going to make vesicles. It's going to make blisters and spots, and they're itchy, and then finally they're burning, and and you can't. These are sore, weeping wounds on you from the same virus that caused the chicken pox. It's latent because it took years and years to develop that. I was physically present, hearing doctors concerned about the fact that SV-40 monkey virus and other cancer-promoting viruses were in the polio vaccine. And you know what they were saying? But it's okay. This is a latent virus. It can cause polioma, but we're not going to worry about that, because in 10 or 15 years, we're going to have a cure for cancer. So let's just go ahead and distribute. The CDC said 98 million. It was many more doses than that. Anytime the CDC, they want to kind of try and keep the figure low. If you think 98 million is a low figure, we had only about half the population we have now. And then they distribute all over Europe and Russia, everywhere you go. And the monkey virus, they didn't care. Now let's talk a little bit on very basic terms, but I'm doing this so that everybody can remember how it is. If you've ever tried to blow up a balloon, and it's really, really hard. It's a really heavy, thick latex balloon. You know the pressure. Now imagine the kind of pressure that's forcing material, forcing moisture that you have, that you want, because you've got a beautiful thing here. You've got the polio virus, and you want to make these vaccines, and you're pushing it with great pressure through these ceramic, it's really hard to do, ceramic filters that you can't even see the dots of the open. The filters are so fine. So you have tremendous pressure. Just imagine
just
huge pressure
pushing it through.
Yes, and slowly trickling out on the other end.
The other side, yeah.
Comes this liquid, and it's clean. You look under a microscope, oh, it looks great, all that. It wasn't. Who would guess? All right, most of your viruses, like respiratory viruses and all that, I'm going to talk about like they're big mushrooms or marshmallows. Yeah, marshmallows floating on a cup of hot chocolate. And that the hot chocolate is there. There's the polio vaccine. On top are these fluffy things that you've got to scoop that off, and they're fluffy and easy to get off because you can see them. You imagine just like marshmallows, pulling them off. They're big, gorgeous. I say gorgeous because their genomes are fantastic. If you know what you're looking at, they're unbelievably able to mutate easily, so that's why we get the flu every year. No matter what we do, it's going to change, and some of it's going to survive in a different form, and it's going to get you again. And these viruses don't want you to die. They want you to be around generation after generation. So it's something we had to live with and all that. And they're not fun, but the point is, it's not going to kill you unless human beings get their hands on it and do what's called gain of function to make it really nasty. Why would they do that? Because they want to kill people. They want to kill the enemy. This is a biological weapon. It can be made into a biological weapon. Okay, so now you have all this filtrate coming through, and it looks beautiful. And all that fluffy stuff is gone, and you think you've got all the virus out. Then what you do is you subject this material to really high temperatures. This is put this way, make sure it's all clean. And you even add formaldehyde and all the stuff that is not very good for us, but you put all that in to kill anything that might have escaped. Then you've got a gorgeous, clean product, right? Wrong. The RNA-based fluffy viruses, that we're talking about over here, there's another that you don't see. Think of grains of sugar going down into the hot chocolate, and they don't quite dissolve at the bottom. You can hardly see them. You have to scoop it out with a spoon and look at it like that, and it may dissolve right in your hands. I mean, it's very hard to detect little grains of sugar that escape being scooped up. I'm just putting it like that. So you think about it, just sprinkling down. And the little grains are able to, shall we say, melt, but then they can form again as grains on the other side. Think of a ball of yarn, and as being pressed, and it's being pushed through like a piece of spaghetti. It unrolls, and on the other side, it rolls back up again. But they're not looking for the virus on the other side. They thought they got it all. The SV-40 monkey virus is so much smaller than the regular viruses that are RNA-based. This is DNA-based. Now, that's dangerous. DNA-based means it's right inside your cell. It's gotten through the cell wall. It's right there with the nucleus. It can actually affect the DNA in your system. And for them to say, when they give you a shot, and we're finding SV-40 now in these shots, and they're trying to tell you it's not going to do any damage to the DNA. Oh, yeah, they really know a lot about it, don't they? Because they let it in. So they think that after 7 days or 8 days, they've killed all this stuff. But the monkey virus stays alive for 30 or more days. Now, a lot of it gets killed off at day 4 or day 7. A lot of it doesn't. And it was then it was just infecting all of this polio. Now, the polio virus itself, just to explain it in simple language, think of a mosquito with a sucker like that. Well, the polio virus and bacteriophage and all that have a kind of a tripod, or they have little legs, and they have a sucker or sipper in between. They can pierce into a cell, and inject material in there that orders the cell to create replicas of itself. Instead of creating itself, it's going to create this stuff instead, and it orders it. So messenger RNA, for example, the messenger gives the message to the RNA that a whole bunch of amino acids, and the amino acids, they start just clicking together like building blocks, like Lego. Okay, they're being pushed together and snapped together, and that's all beautiful. Now the trouble is if you mess up the messenger RNA, say you want to make sure that you get a way to combat with this spike protein, one of those is going to say it's white and all the rest are red. You can actually see, if you know your genome, you can actually see where these have been locked in there and they don't belong. You can see that. They've been putting them in. You're supposed to have locks on both sides so it cannot replicate itself, but they've removed them because they want this to generate, ways to fight the virus. That is the COVID virus. They didn't know about the SV-40 because it's in fragments. Oh, fragments aren't going to matter, but it's the fragments that actually are parts that promote cancer. And we found now, we don't know if it's all the samples, but there's another story behind that too. When it's very, very expensive to make these things, and it's cheap to make the saline solution, fake ones for the placebo, and you're going to get the same amount of money whether it's placebo or not. How many of the expensive COVID shots are you really going to get compared to saline? So you can have 100 people. What if it's supposed to be 50-50? But when they know this stuff is dangerous, they know that some people may die from it. I mean, after all, they actually tested 8 whole mice, and they all died. Oh, lovely! After testing 8 mice, they say it's safe for us, right? Even though they all died. Well, instead of 50-50, what if you only had 25% of the actual vaccines, and you
Uh,
have 75. Who's going to know?
okay.
You see, I'm trying to show you what's happened. So then you're going to have a lot of the population say, well, I got the shot, nothing happened to me. Then look at their second or third, and then the odds are against them. And then all of a sudden, the third shot, they drop dead, or, other things, horrible things. They get cancer, especially testicular cancer is rising. We have pancreatic, we have bone cancer, we have lung cancer, you name it. There's a plethora of them. So I think by saying this in simple language, you're going to get the picture that it's a whole lot cheaper not to make that many of the real thing and put a lot of saline in there. You're going to be paid the same amount, okay? And you've got to get it out in a hurry. So are you going to wait 30 days to kill the SV-40 monkey virus that's in it? Absolutely not. You know what? They pass laws to make sure nobody can sue you if somehow you end up with pancreatic cancer and you find out it's full of, you do an autopsy and they're going to find monkey virus all through it. Oh no, what they're doing is they're not reporting these to VAERS. I have talked to doctors that didn't even know that VAERS existed. Others have said, look, they make it so hard to fill out. I'll be filling out paperwork all day when I've got 50 deaths in the hospital. So they're not getting, we don't know how many, but the misreportage, we may be only seeing about 15 or 20%, even maybe less of what actually happened. And on top of that, they wanted a lot of people to die from COVID because every hospital that had a death from COVID got a bonus. Wait a minute, why aren't they getting a bonus for every COVID patient that goes out alive? But it's not. It's the number of deaths that they're paying bonuses for because they're risking their lives, to work with these people. And so they have these excuses. But as a matter of fact, there's no reason to keep grandma alive if we can empty this bed and put somebody else in, and we're going to get at least $4,000 for her if she dies. So they don't let ivermectin in. They don't let even quinine in, or hydroxychloroquine. You think quinone? You think they're going to let that in? Absolutely not. All right. And they're going to stop the doctors. They will even fire the doctors. They'll just bar them, everything. They lose their licenses if they don't use remdesivir, which they've got. It's Veklury. It has another name too. And remdesivir is a failed brainchild of Dr. Fauci. This thing was used to try to help people get, who were suffering from AIDS, and it failed miserably and was killing people. But he's got stockpiled all frozen. It can keep forever. Let's unfreeze it and let's use it on the COVID patients.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. And they died anyway. It took some people a long time to understand what was going on. But I had sent out 200 booklets to my friends, and I asked for donations because I printed them at first. And then I sent out about another 200, altogether 400 booklets that went to families. And this was in March. Imagine how I felt. I came to visit the United States with one suitcase, just stay 6 days, say goodbye. I said, the borders are going to close. I know it. They're not talking about it, but it's going to happen. I said, I looked at the genome. They just released it from, China did. When I was over in Europe. The genome looks like it's been, a hatchet went to it. I mean, I could see the disruption in the genome. I mean, they're peeling off page after page. It's huge. Okay. And there I go, wow, wait a minute. That doesn't go, it's like a pimple. Okay. On the surface of a baby's buttock. It just, you can't miss it if you know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And it sticks out like that. Is a way, what's that doing there? And then you see more, and then you realize there's no way anyway that this could have been natural because there are too many mutations of the wrong kind with the stops missing. There are certain stops when
Exons,
the body's
codons,
ordered to make something, there's a go button. You can think of it like that, but they're not one, but there are two stop buttons.
Yeah.
When
Exons
they're
and
missing.
codons.
That's right. The codons, and when they're, so I'm trying to make it so everybody will understand what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's fine. and I can use nomenclature too, but by using all that special language, nobody
No,
understands. So
you're
a
right.
doctor could go and sit there and tell you stuff, and he'll be telling
Run
you the
circles
truth.
around you, and you
But
don't.
if
Yeah,
you knew what they were really saying, you would be horrified. You wouldn't,
yeah.
you would leave the hospital.
I forget. I have a biology degree. There's some terms I
Oh no,
remember.
that's all right. I mean,
Yeah.
so I'm keeping this very
No, no, no.
simple.
You are no. You're doing it correctly. You're doing it well. Uh, Judith, can you real quick? I really got to use the
Yep,
restroom. Can you tell everybody where to find your book?
I would love to.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, everybody out there, if you can get a pencil or a paper, or you have an extraordinary a lot of spit, and you can just use your tongue and write it on the wall. Uh, I've had quite a few days here helping people to understand what's the matter, and we have a long history of the monkey virus. You'll see that my book is called Lee Harvey Oswald and Me. Now, there's an earlier version called Me and Lee. You can get that easily online at Amazon and also from the publisher at Trine Day. It's easy to do. Just go Trine, Trine Day, Day. But the books, that's Me and Lee, and it's not out. It's not out of date as far as all the information that's there, and also why Lee Oswald was brought in to protect our project. Protect our project because we're working on ways to try and kill Fidel Castro. That was going on in several projects there in New Orleans. Ours was very deadly, and had to do with the monkey virus. It had to do with selecting and creating an injection that would kill Castro. He'd think he was getting a shot of penicillin. It's horrible, really. But at that time we had been bombarded with that. It was just 6 months after the Cuban Missile Crisis when I got involved in New Orleans, and I was brought in because I had memorized very important formulas that would help to grow cancer faster. And I've got newspaper articles and so on. So anyway, it's all in the book Me and Lee, and my association with Lee Oswald, who said and protect the project. Ended up, I need a lot of protection. That ended up with association, and we fell in love. And I'll never forget it. It means a great deal to me. Now, to get that book, again, you can go to Trine Day, or listen now carefully. You can get it from me as well. And it helps me to keep going. So I really appreciate that. The other book, Lee Harvey Oswald Me, is the update. It is hardbound. It's not paperback. It has color, 16 pages of color files and photos in it. So you get a better picture of what was going on. And it has a lot of the updates of the from 2017 and so on, the releases. A lot of material was released that they thought was worthless to the American public. Well, some of it wasn't worthless to me. For example, over 400 pages on Raul Aparicio. All right, now I'm telling you all that. There's stuff in there that isn't in Me and Lee. So it's a bigger book. It's hard copy, so you can buy it and get it in the libraries. You can get it. It's going to last. We have to get printed word. We're losing a lot on the internet. I'm telling you right now, the internet is being closed down by AI all over the place to where they're all, wherever I don't care what you plug in, you're going to get the same search engines are going to have all the same stuff coming up, only what AI likes. And it's not good. Lots of stuff is missing. And you have to jump through special hoops to find anything. And so much has been removed from the internet. It's disgusting. We're losing our internet, people. We're losing it. Get the printed book so you'll have it. So what you need to do is you're going to go to PayPal, and it will be to jfkconference@yahoo.com. $42 for Lee Harvey Oswald and Me, or $50 if you want it autographed. And the other is Me and Lee, $25, and I'll autograph it for you. Either one I can send to you. All right. Now, the other way is if you want to send me, if you're on Twitter, or go to Twitter, please, you DM me and I'll give you my address. I don't want to do it here. Yeah. But I will, you can send me a check or money order that way. And it will help me. If you feel like donating right now, it would really help. But it's up to you. I never ask. I don't have a place where you can say donate. It's just out of the goodness of your heart if you want to do that over at PayPal. So, at any rate, anybody who donates any substantial amount, they'll get a book anyway.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you very much. And we can continue if how do you feel when you're ready?
Of course, I think I drink more water than anyone on this planet, and so
No, but that's going to keep you alive, my friend, unless it's the water that's on the planet that's being ruined.
no,
But
it's
that's another story.
it's the good water. Yeah. So, and if we need more time to finish this topic, because we do about another 30 minutes, we can obviously schedule another one. But so sorry, can before I rudely
Okay.
interrupted you
So
with the
how much
bathroom
time do we
break,
have left? I can speed this up a little.
preferably like 25 minutes. But
Okay.
you have my number. We can always do another one and
Okay.
another one and another
All
one.
right.
All right,
Okay. Well,
25 minutes. Go.
I'll finish this little scenario. As you say, I'm kind of high and excited and happy instead of feeling like a boot is smashed in the middle of my face. It was 23 years of trying to wake up people about the monkey virus.
Mm-hmm.
And now finally the truth is coming out. And the truth is not good to look at. But you understand that now that the virus is very hard to get out of the product. And because it takes so long and they're under a time limit, they again, just like they did way back in the 60s, said, doesn't matter, by the time anybody gets cancer from this, they'll never connect it to the injection. But it's going faster because you know what? People are weaker. People are not getting not just one of these shots, but they're getting boosters. So when here we go, let's go back now. And we're looking at the product that we had way back there in New Orleans. And what we did basically is we were able to create something I stupidly trusted my government, trusted the CIA, trusted my eminent doctors, believed them when they said, we're just going to use this to kill Castro. Am I out of my mind? They're not going to spend all that money on just him. And actually, when Lee Oswald went down there, nobody showed up to pick up the material that he brought down. And he had to make a show of trying to get in the country. He had no intention of going to Cuba, but it has to look good, or CIA is going to say, why didn't you at least try? Okay. So he did ridiculous things. Lee's not stupid. I mean, he did things like laid out a gun and said, look, the FBI is going to try to kill me. I have to carry a gun around. They're not going to let anybody like that in their country.
Yeah.
He did crazy things that made sure that he wouldn't get any way to get in, but he has to make the effort, make it look good. So he participated in a few things like that. But the point is that they made sure that he went down there so later they can blame him and say, look, he's pro-Castro, because he had to pretend to be pro-Castro to protect us. All different kinds of things he did. Handing out flyers that are pro-Castro, for heaven's sakes. Well, of course he's going to do that, because you're going to go and protect somebody from Castro. They've got to not think that you're going to do that.
Yeah.
If you're acting like you're on Castro's side, I mean, that's an advantage. So he's pretending to be pro-Castro, and he's building up his own death sentence, because as he does this, the more easy it is for them to blame and say, this man is working for Castro, he's working for the Russians, and they killed Kennedy, and it wasn't us, we didn't do it. And Lee could not say, look, I'm CIA, I don't do this to me, because and they knew he wouldn't, because had he done that, the connections he had made with other CIA spies that were in Belarus, where they had a spy training school and so on, and where they had factories where they were making radar components. And that's what Lee was there especially for. And he knew about the U-2. He's a radar man. He's got all these reasons to be there. A lot of the CIA contacts, I guess it's okay to say it now, are people, doctors in hospitals. He had a list of those doctors, because the doctor can approach a vulnerable patient, or they can do things and get things out of oral and parts of your body that are, I mean, spy's going to shove something up their rear end and he can pull it out and nobody will ever know.
Yeah.
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 All kinds of things.
That's a
Well,
good
he's not
point.
going to tell him, I'm CIA. They're going to go back to his records. They're going to, anybody suspicious, they're going to kill them.
Yeah.
They knew Lee would not betray. All he could say to defend himself is that he was a patsy. It breaks my heart, because they knew he wouldn't break that way. They also killed him within 47 hours, because they knew that one way or the other, if they looked too deep into the matter of Lee Oswald. So as soon as he's murdered, they say case closed. We don't have to look any further. And he had no accomplices because they said so. So of course I'm angry. They took the love of my life. And the book will tell you I have saved so many documents, not because for Lee. I saved them because we thought we were going to be heroes. Killing Castro, nobody know it happened. They think it's a natural occurring cancer. And he's out of the way, he's dead. And CIA then knows all the other people. They're going to install their own puppet like they've done so many other countries all through Middle and South America, Central America, and so on. Instead, Castro is a very bright man, and he's intercepting these things. He has other people tasting his food. He's only getting certain shots. Well, we still have people there. Anyway, it's all in the book. You'll see why we thought we'd be successful. But they had no intention of taking this. It turned out they wanted this biological weapon. They could get a lot of money saying they're after Castro, but now they had a weapon and they can use it. Why? Because we have in my new book, Lee Harvey Oswald, anyway, we found more than ever. We found various evidence that, for example, it was handed off to MD Anderson. It doesn't mean they have it today, but they probably do. They may not even know they have it. Only maybe certain people, because it's all in deep freeze, but it's labeled. You don't know what's in there unless you're told such and such. This AW3 is actually a cancer virus in here that will kill a man in 28 days. So what are they finding? They are finding that they tested some of the material that was found in these vaccines. They test them on some mice. And I'm really shortening this up and I'm simplifying it. But 14% of the mice died of cancer in only a few weeks, not months like it's supposed to take. In other words, it's our super cancer. Yeah. The super cancer we had is still around, live and kicking. And it's really horrible. So we have found these last few weeks, we have found the materials, we have found the evidence, we have found the material that we're talking about that promotes cancer, particles, parts of the SV-40 monkey virus. These are the parts, however, that promote. And there's other stuff in there. That's not it. That's not all. It's loaded with other oncogens. And I advise everybody, please don't let your children get any messenger RNA vaccine. The old vaccines are bad enough. And I am so adamant that we would not have, when we have like only 13 to 18 shots given over to kids over in Sweden. Okay, 13 to 18. Now it used to be 57. It's now up to 87 shots a child gets in America. And it's got all this dirt in. And why? We had superior sanitation. And that's what really stopped a lot of the incidents of all these various childhood diseases. But what really gets me is the bundle. They're going to go and give you child 3 things at once, or maybe 4 or even whatever, all in one shot. Why? Well, it's one shot, the child's not going to scream and cry because they have to go and get 4 shots, right? At 4 different, no, the parent loves it because instead of having to take the child in 3 times, they only take the child in once. So let's look at measles, mumps, and rubella, the 3 childhood diseases. Measles is not all that bad. It actually only gets strengthened because of being triggered by these vaccines. It probably would have been it was going down to 0 when the vaccination thing started. They're trying to tell us that, and now we're having instances of measles, but that's because this stuff sheds. That's the easy way to look at it. So tell me, my friend, did you ever have measles or know of anybody who got measles, mumps, and rubella all at the same time as a child?
I don't think so.
Well, no. Your body handles one disease at a time, or maybe you're being in trouble, right? So why do you think you can give them 3 diseases at once and get a truly adequate response from the immune system? How is the immune system going to handle 3 of them at once? And then they say, oh, look at this. Shots don't cause autism. Okay, but the autism rate, I've talked to too many parents Go ahead and kick me offline, people, because I'm going to say it. And that is, I've talked to way too many parents that say, after my kids got the shots, they like twins or whatever, they stopped talking. They stopped walking. They had high fevers and they didn't look at our face anymore. And they're 16 years old and they still wear diapers. And you never hear about them. And the waste of not only those poor kids, but the parents having to take care of them. I have one of my 5 children has a person in that condition. And that person in that condition is brilliant in mathematics. He's got 2 degrees in engineering and 1 in economics, I believe it is. And he does advanced calculus, but he can't put his underwear on in the right direction. He likes to set fires. He moans through half the night with nightmares, and he's afraid that he has to fight demons, or demons will consume the earth in fire, and he is saving the planet. In other words, he's schizophrenic on top of everything. All this happened. It's heartbreaking to see the changes in these kids and what happens to them. And they're trying to say there's no, and so any kind of paper that had anything to do with linking that, they refuse to publish them. Or, and in some cases, some of it slipped through, and then what they do is they retract them. All right, so I'm asking everybody out here, what can you do though if this virus comes along? I'm talking about if you get a terrible respiratory virus, they're saying here comes COVID number 5 or 10 or Omega, Omega. What are you going to do? Well, I want you to write down these 3 words: ivermectin, okay, H, C, Q, and then quinine. And you'd add to that quercetin, Quercetin, I believe, quercetin. Now, along with vitamin C, D3, omega-3. You're going to say, I don't want to remember all that. Okay, go ahead and take the shot. What the heck? See what happens to you. Roll the dice. Maybe you'll get the saline. And then when you get sick, you're still going to need something, okay? You're still going to need something, but they're not going to offer you anything but something that's going to hurt your kidneys, because the thing that hurts your kidneys is like $3,000 to give to you. Whereas horse paste, ivermectin, all right, which by the way tastes like apples. If you want to do horse paste, that's fine. Just do the right amount. It's just fine. But you get that, and what do you know? For $10, you're cured. What? Instead of 3,000? Ban that. Ban ivermectin. We mustn't have it anywhere. It is horse paste. Let's forget about the fact that they got a Nobel Prize for it, because it was the least toxic and most incredible medication that not only would get rid of, as you know, all kinds of parasites, river blindness, you name it, all kinds, but it also handles respiratory viruses, because there are parts of the virus there that actually ivermectin works on the same as it would on parasitical infections. It's just fantastic. So we don't want anybody to know about that. We want to give them remdesivir, which Fauci, he made a whole bunch of it. He put it in the freezer. What am I going to do with it? He trots it out for the epidemic. So that's the way it's going. You may have a problem. We have to stand up for our rights. I'm asking all of you, read my book. Please do that if you will, because it's going to give you the base understanding of how this developed. It's also, you have to understand, we have to stop biological weapon production. You're saying, well, we have to do it because of them. They're making it. Oh yeah, all right. So you're making smallpox, they're making smallpox, and nobody's making any kind of antidote for smallpox. Why? Because according to the World Economic Forum and the World Health Organization, we have a bunch of global elites up there that's saying we have too many people on the planet. They're also telling you how bad the carbon dioxide level is. Actually, our carbon dioxide level should be higher so we can get optimal plant growth. It's actually low right now in the system. Well, that's because we're cutting down trees. The more carbon dioxide you put in into the ecological system that you have, okay? And so that's all to balance it. We actually need more carbon dioxide, not less. It may get a little hotter, but the trees are going to pump out tons of oxygen, and we need that oxygen. So it's going to get a little hotter. We may have some methane escape from oceans and so on like that. But we can actually, and we should do something about the methane that's down at the bottom of the sea there. We should be sucking that up and using it as a great energy source. Okay, so people, I'm just asking you, please watch my tweets. I'm at Judyth, AJUDYTH. I put things out there of two kinds. Find really, shall we say, exquisite and difficult and hard to understand material, all right, for the professionals. But I also will write and make it legible and understandable and logical to you. And that's my, I feel it's a mission I have, because we obscure the language, make it impossible for people to understand. I mean, when you say what is carcinogenic, and I get a blank look, well, it shouldn't be like that. Or oncology. Now, why is it if you have something carcinogenic is caused cancer, but the study of cancer is called oncology? Why isn't it called carcinomology or something?
Yeah.
No, they've got to, don't do that. On the other hand, and Musk is like this, a lot of engineers are. Why is it the engineers, when they talk about, the North Pole or global this or that, they use terms that are easy to understand. A crater, is okay. What about, well, there's a sea. Why aren't they calling it a saline conglomerate of various dissolved minerals? No, they use language we can understand. It should be that way in the medical field. We've got to do something about clearing out. We need to close down big pharma, get these little companies out by themselves again so they can actually make new things, new products, because often these small companies are purchased so that they won't be using that new product that might cure cancer. They hold it back because they make a heck of a lot more money treating cancer. So your aunt, your uncle, your mommy, your daddy, your little brother's going to die of cancer and make a big debt on you, because in this country, you could literally have to sell your house to save your kid. You, for profit, hospitals should be banned. On the other hand, the nonprofit are just as bad, because they know that if they go below a certain level in this country, they can't accept as many charity cases because they're nonprofit, and that means they lose money. They will go out of business. So everything's upside down. Find a doctor. It's not that his soul is not connected to a clinic and a hospital, because they're telling him what to do. If he doesn't do what they want, they're going to be fired. And all over the country, we have empty offices, empty, of brave doctors who refused to let their clients go into the hospital and made them well, or gave them saline injections to make sure they didn't get this stuff. And now they are broke, and they're living in motels, and they have nothing, in these big debts, and their debts go into, default, and then they can't buy a house again, and unless all these debts are paid off. And it can take their whole lives to pay them off. They're being punished horribly for doing the right thing. Find yourself a good doctor, take good care of him and his needs. They've given up a lot for you. There are thousands of them around the world. So find them. And by the way, some of our so-called very good doctors, you look back in their history, you find out they were doing these bad things. But now that they've seen the light, they're trying to make up for it. No, they're covering their asses, because they knew back then, most of them did, what was going on and what was wrong, and they did it anyway because they didn't want to lose their profession. Now they're all, oh, please don't be mean to us. Please forgive us. I don't ever trust them again. Don't. I hope I've said enough. As you said, I'm worked up. I've looked at
No, I love it.
statistics.
Keep going.
I've looked at statistics for weeks. I've been working with these doctors. We are going to be presenting far more technical material so that people can see what happened. We pray God will be with us, because without him, these people are going to win because they make the money. So thank you for helping us. Uh, uh, Anything anybody wants to do, I really appreciate it. Not just get my books out, but also please support your doctor, any local doctor you can find. If you find out they've lost their position and they lost their career during the time of COVID, I would trust them.
Yes, ma'am. Judyth, thank you so much for your time. It's always a pleasure having you on. I love chatting with you. You get fired up. I love it.
Well, I don't feel 80, I'll tell you that. I got asked by the driver, by the way. She said, "You're 80?" She said, "Tell me what you take. Tell me what you take." So I do. You can DM me. I can tell you what to take for your if you need it. If I feel like $1,000,000 and I could take these tough hours and everything like that, it doesn't make any difference because I
You are
love you. God puts this in your heart. That you love people, and He'll make you young.
yeah,
No matter what you
absolutely.
look like on the outside.
Absolutely. No, you sound like $1,000,000 too. You can hang with the best of them. It's why I love it. But guys,
Well, I made everything simple this time because I want people to see the picture,
yeah,
the
yeah,
big picture.
absolutely. Guys, if you go in the description, you can find her website. You can find links to her books, PayPal, all that good stuff, as well as a link to her Twitter. I highly recommend go follow her. She does respond. I know personally she will respond. And
I try.
Judyth, I
It's
look
a
for
matter of love. I mean,
absolutely.
some of my books didn't get out. I have to tell you, I was filmed in New Orleans for a whole week. And then after that, I had interviews. I'm behind like 3 weeks on mailing out books, and I'm getting people. Where's my book? I've got day after tomorrow. I'm going to be able to mail out a bunch of books.
Good, beautiful. But for now, Judyth, let's wrap this one up. And I very much so look forward to our next talk. Thank you so
Take good
much.
care of yourself.
You
And
too, ma'am.
listeners out there, this is a good man. That's why I'm here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Making me blush. Judyth, thank you so much. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Please go support Miss Baker. And again, till next